Behind every mask is a heartbeat, a story, a split second that changes everything. This is where the smoke clears and the people under the helmets are finally seen. This
Behind the
is
mask. We step inside the volunteer firehouses of Pennsylvania's coal region to meet the everyday people who answer the call.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this series, Behind the Mask. Today we are here in Trevorton, Pennsylvania, a nice, quiet coal region town here in Pennsylvania. But we're going to step inside and meet the men behind the mask here at Trevorton Fire Department. So let's crack on.
Hello everybody, I am Thomas Jeffrey. I am the Assistant Fire Chief here, formerly the Captain here at Trevorton Fire Company. Today we're going to go over some fire apparatus and a little bit of a station tour. This here is a 1996 Seagrave pumper. We purchased this about two and a half years ago from Warrior Run Fire Company in Watsontown. It replaced our 1990 Pen Fab. It is a 1,750 gallon per minute pump with 1,000 gallons of water. It's kind of utilized as a rescue engine as to a point. It does carry some rescue equipment. We pretty much have enough equipment on this to just pretty much get started until a rescue arrives. But we could start in the front here. So up here in the front, pretty much this is just for the officers. They pretty much control the radio, the sirens, and then up in here is also our 4 gas and 5 gas meters.
A typical setup for an officer cab, pretty much.
Yeah, it's
That's
pretty
what I'm
much
catching on as I do this series. I'm learning a lot more as I go. And it seems like that, the officer has the most safety equipment up there.
We're talking about upgrading. The county is going to be, well, they pretty much already introduced it, which is Workforce, which there will be a tablet put in here eventually that pretty much will be live with the CAD as we're responding to a call. We'll be able to keep up with what's going on pretty much, frame by frame as the county's typing stuff in. So it's going to be a lot of help for us in the future. Now this is a little bit different than most fire apparatus around here. As a newer fire apparatus, the cabs are actually getting tighter. This is actually a very big cab. You can pretty much stand straight up in this and,
Yeah, it definitely feels roomy in here.
It is a 8-man cab, carries 7 air packs, which they're all newer. Scott Pro X's and Scott Pro X Pros. Currently we have about 10 cylinders going out to get hydro tested right now. As part of your annual, well, not even annual, but your regular maintenance.
So a lot of medical calls, or
We run a decent amount, not as much as most, but
yeah.
so we carry just around 1,000 feet of pre-connected attack line. There's attack line on the bumper, currently where you are right now, on the back of the truck, and we carry just around 1,400 feet of supply line between 5-inch and 3-inch. And here we carry some basic EMS stuff, first aid, gloves. Yep. In here is just some oil drive for vehicle accidents, a leaf blower. And then you have a Sawzall, another leaf blower, water can, ABC fire extinguisher, some wheel chocks for vehicle cribbing. In here carries around our jaws of life, our oak cutters, rescue chains.
It's actually a pretty big department.
Yeah. There is a Sawzall in here. This here is a crash bag, carries some wrenches, glass master. Just your basic stuff to pull off the truck real quick. In here is all the cribbing to stabilize the vehicle in case of yeah. It's not the most cleanest setup, but it gets the job done.
But it's in there, it don't go nowhere.
Nope. In here, if you want to go around, That is the Hearst power unit that runs the jaws of life, oak cutters, spreaders.
Gas powered.
Yep. That is rescue jacks. That is to stabilize the car that's either on its side or down over a bank or anything like that. Pretty much to stabilize the vehicle so we can work on the patient. Back here, we carry a 35-foot, 24-foot, and 10-foot ladder. There's additional hard tubes in here, which is for drafting purposes for remote areas that you don't have hydrants. That is our hose bed, 5-inch.
A lot of supply line there.
Yeah, there's 1,200 feet of 5-inch.
And is it about a standard or?
Yeah, it's about your standard. Most companies, anywhere between 1,000 and about 1,400 is what most companies carry.
Because it's more on one side than it is spread out.
Yeah.
Say like most of the rigs I see, they're spread out the whole way across the back there.
Right.
Okay.
This is a 4-way valve. Pretty much most companies around here carry this because you could pressurize a hydrant off another apparatus if you have low pressure on a hydrant. Cord reel, hydrant bag. We have a K12 rotary saw, chainsaw, and a battery chainsaw in there. Just some more firefighting tools, hooks, haligans, axes.
Basic.
Yeah, just your basic fireman tools.
It seems like they're always on the same side, the cabinets. Like
So most companies, if they're a straight wagon or an engine, most of the time they're both sides. We're kind of in the aspect of running rescue and fire. So all our rescue stuff's on the passenger side and all our fire stuff is on the driver's side. Pump panel makes sense, keep everything on the fire side on this side. A positive pressure fan, some electric cord reels.
the whole way through to the other side.
Yep.
There, so another saw.
And here's pretty much all lighting. We do run a lot of, well, the one flashlight's been removed, but it's pretty much when you get into a rural area where we need some extra lighting, especially, we just actually used all this stuff the other week. We had a vehicle down over a bank and we had all this pulled. And
Dark out there, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And then in here, pretty much, so we have yet to fulfill this for all our couplings. So a lot of them are inside this toolbox, which pretty much all this is just regular hand tools.
Really clean compartments too.
We try. We do what we can, what we got.
I didn't think you guys kept them clean.
And then just more, well, this is rock salt, obviously, because of the winter time. And then we also carry foam.
Which is this mixture here.
Yep. And then there's a foam conductor. I have an inhale pump. But this is a Waterous 1750. But up top, there's some more oil dry cones, a humat valve, shovel, and a broom. Deck gun. So that's pretty much the tour of the engine. Like I said, it's set up for what we mainly need it for. We don't try to surpass what we're going to use it for, but there's obviously always time for upgrades. There's talks upgrading some equipment on here that's on here now, but due to the pricing of newer equipment, it's a thing in the future.
Volunteer fire department. What kind of local government support do you get?
So pretty much you're guaranteed every year as long as your fire company files for your federal state grant, which is an average. You could qualify up to $20,000. Most fire companies, depending on your firefighter one, which firefighter one helps a lot with grants, but your average is anywhere between $10,000 and $15,000 is usually what a fire company gets. And that pretty much just replaces the damaged equipment that's happened in a year past. Like I said before, the equipment is so expensive.
So government funding is not a lot for a local volunteer.
You burn through that very quick.
I imagine.
You have a couple house fires a year. I mean, I think this year we damaged probably about 500 feet of attack line, and that's a 50-foot section of attack line runs just around $400 a section. So it's expensive. But other on the government aspect of funding, we have no other income coming in this fire company. We don't have a bar. We don't have a social quarters. We get a allotment from the township which is around $7,200 a year, which goes into our relief fund. Other than that, we fundraise, raffles, chicken barbecues, soup sales. Our big thing is pretty much doing gun raffles. Everyone loves doing that. That's an easy moneymaker for us. Everybody wins in that aspect. Someone gets a nice new toy and fire company survives another day.
Sounds good to me.
But it's constantly it's a fight to try to keep the doors open, keep the lights on. If the membership didn't step up and fundraise some money and the community wasn't so supportive, we wouldn't be here. Local fire companies are only surviving off of their community. If it wasn't for the community, you wouldn't have a local fire service. So this here is a 2008 Ford F550. This was purchased by the fire company many years ago. I don't know the exact date, but this was custom built by the members inside the firehouse. It has 565 gallons of water on the back. Carries pretty much all brush equipment, PPE, rakes, shovels, some additional hose. There's a chainsaw in here, some water. It's not beer.
Yeah, I've seen that. Just so everybody sees, it is water. But I wouldn't be too bad here.
Just more tools.
Simple stuff.
Then back here, there is going to be two pre-connected 1-inch forestry lines. So, a rear quick fill. Yep. There's a pole saw, and pretty much everything here is just additional hose and PPE. It was all custom designed by the fire.
So it works perfect for this one.
Absolutely. We kind of had a joke given to us. We were down in Cumberland County on a major brush fire, mountain fire, and a deuce and a half pulled up next to us and asked us why we were out here pressure washer in the mountain. And we told them that it might look like a pressure washer truck, but it gets the job done. It carries a lot of water, carries the manpower and the tools to do what we got to do. So this here is UTV 315. It is a 2008 Polaris 800. On the back, it has a brush box / rescue box on the back. It carries additional hose, 75 gallons of water. Has a BLS bag on the back. But it's pretty much used for brush fires, removing patients from areas that animals can't get access to, rough terrain, snowy driveways. We just used it not that long ago for that reason.
That long of a driveway?
It wasn't even that long, the animals just couldn't get up the hill to it.
Oh, okay.
And the person was unable to walk on their own.
It's gonna be handy for that.
It did come in handy. And that was a day that we were actually staffed and stationed, so it worked out.
How would you transport this?
We have a trailer up back behind the station.
So you have to hook up the trailer and grab it.
Yeah.
But if it's something like local, you can just take it right to it.
Right.
In August of 1900, Alex Cooper founded the fire department in Trevorton. He was the first foreman until about 1911, and he was elected fire chief in 1912 and held that until about 1941, a total of 29 years. Unfortunately, he passed away June 23rd, 1944.
I've been a member since 1990 at the station here. We're upstairs in what used to be called the Opera House. As you can see up front on the front wall, we had it filled in. That's the stage, which is currently our administrative offices and our meeting room. But down here on the main floor, we used to have dances. Like I said, it was the Opera House back in the day, so this place used to get filled with seating for people watching the opera performance. In the corner here, back in the day, used to be a bar. The fire company operated a bar. Since then, we've built a storage facility where the bar sat. Put up a little bit of trophy room, or a little bit of trophy space, I should say. Dedicated to some of the trophies that we've won over the years with the ambulance and fire. Back in the day, we used to operate a pump team, and some of the trophies are from the pump team. We used to win first place throughout the state whenever we would go anywhere for that pump team. We used to hold our annual firefighter banquets up here, and I can remember as a younger man back in the 90s, my first banquet here was in 1990, and if you didn't get a ticket in January, you didn't have a seat. This place used to get jam-packed. The women used to utilize the kitchen, our ladies' auxiliary. Everything that got served to the members during that banquet was all homemade, from hand food. The women would do all the work. They would wash the dishes, everything. The men would be able to sit, celebrate. We'd get awards. Is what we call our wall of honor. What we do is when a member passes, it's not quite up to date yet, but when a member passes, we take and write their name on the wall, just in memorial of that person. Their name and their likeness is always with us. A lot of these folks on the wall are from the start of the company all the way up to current times. Like I said, there's a couple that we've got to get put on back in the 1990s, early 2000s, when we had a group of about 14 junior firefighters. This place used to get packed with the youth of the area. They would have dances. They would put their money in an account, whatever money they would make, and they would buy themselves gear for firefighting, whatever.
And so everybody knows that's watching the video, this is set up for training purposes.
Yep, we have what we did last Monday evening. We had Shamokin's Engine 11 Friendship Fire Company come in. We did a joint training with those fellas. Turn all the lights out in here and have the guys go through a maze, drag a hand line through the maze, just work together, teamwork, get the feel of our mutual aid companies, work together with them guys, especially out in Shamokin with going out on their second alarms. So we, it's all building the brotherhood. In my almost 40 years, well, I've been a firefighter since I was 14 in East Cameron. In my 40 years, the fire service has evolved and the training is just nonstop. You have to constantly train to keep up with the new standards, the way things are. And some things come back around when you think about the way we used to do things. Some of the old thoughts come back around into play into the new stuff.
The new generation and the older generation, they work together, that is for sure, because the newer generation sees things differently than the older generation. So these old dogs got to adapt and overcome with some of the way things are progressing, with the way fire service is growing. Right, John?
Yes, sir. For some, it's hard to adapt to the new way of things. Unfortunately, you have to adapt and you have to overcome. That's what the fire service is about. What you see in front of you is the trophy case. One of the original pictures with the Stutz in it. And that's what the downstairs used to look like. It used to have 3 separate doors instead of one big one and a single door. Again, there's trophies in here from the pump team. That is the original casting that Hahn gave us when we bought the 1980 Hahn off of them. Some of the bugles and pipes that were used in firefighting past, a set of axes from back in the day, some brass nozzles. Just a whole lot of history in this building itself. Some of the trophies are from back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. This is a picture of the original pump team. They used to, like I said, they used to go all over the state.
Yeah.
And
their first ever convention was 1902.
The pump team was known nationally. That was one of the mugs we had made for our 100th anniversary.
I think I have one in my kitchen.
Yeah, they were pretty popular. We had sold quite a few of them. We used to have to go get folding chairs from down there and bring up here. And when the president sat here, if you didn't address and say, "Mr. President, may I address the company?" you were fined a quarter. And if you didn't show up in proper attire, you were assessed a fine for a quarter.
That was a pretty big fine back then.
Back in the day, a quarter was a pretty big fine. Yes, we used to have a jar that sat there that had, or a box that had fine money in it, and they would divide that up or have picnics or whatever with it. And back in the day, we used to be able to fill this room. Currently, right now, we're at the state where we are filling this room. We're back around to every chair here being full. Meeting participation has grown 75%. We've gone from having 10 members to having 20, 25 members present at company meetings. Company members are, in the know what's going on with the company. It keeps them fresh as to, what the events are, so forth. And yeah, looking forward to what the future has to hold for us here as far as administration-wise. Going out, as I was just the president for the last 4 or 5 years, going out, I'm looking forward to being able to sit back and see some of the younger members and watch them take lead in the station. As now being one of the older,
Trained and formed,
as being one of the older members right now in the station, it's really neat. It has been really neat to see Thomas as captain and watch him evolve, and to watch the younger members evolve into what they are today, to the crew that we have put together. Everything in red is currently our current coverage area.
Oh, wow.
Everything in green is mutual aid. Basically, everything else is mutual aid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
Looks like, yeah. We're located like right about here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big area. Mostly looks like a lot of forestry.
Yep.
We cover about 50 miles between first due and automatic aid.
All right, so we're going to touch on a few questions about membership. How hard is it to get volunteers in a local area like this?
With this being a smaller community and more or less a older community, in Trevorton, it is definitely difficult to grab membership. In the last 3 years, it has grown. Like I said off camera a little before, I said I started here 3 years ago, maybe 4, and we had maybe 5 to 6 active firemen. And then the last couple of years with the brotherhood that this company has grown to, we're up to over 40 members. Between like a support members and active firemen, that counts in that 40. But trying to grab a younger generation is definitely difficult. Kids nowadays just don't want to do it, and it's very unfortunate. They are the generations of their local fire companies. The little Bright Bill over there, he is one of the past junior. He just turned 18. So he's one of the 3 that we have here. We have Draven Rumberger and Elijah Bradley, who is 14 and 15 years old. And they're, Draven actually just started taking his essentials class. He's starting young, which is great. Elijah's in sports and stuff like that, so he's got some stuff going on for himself, but he's here when he can be.
Do you think it's the education that they have to go through, the classes, that deter them from doing something like that?
If you'd go back to the day when Brightbill took classes, it was easy. When I started taking classes 15, 16 years ago, it has grown a lot. I mean, just to become an interior fireman, I think it's over 130 hours of training. I took it in the summertime when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, and it pretty much took my entire summer away. And that's the sacrifice you have to take to be involved with your local fire company. The training is nonstop. I mean, every single day something's changing in the fire service. It's constantly evolving. But I mean, on a Trevorton aspect, like, we've grown a lot in the last 4 years. A lot of our membership is out of town. There's probably 10 to 12 people that live in Trevorton, and the rest of them are coming from a distance. But I could tell you, a couple years ago, it took a lot to get the truck out the door. Now we're at the point in our life where our members are actually arguing because the truck's getting out too fast, which is actually a very good thing to have.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up here at the Trevorton Fire Department. See, they gave me a nice shirt to wear for the day. That's really cool of them. Well, yeah, that's a lot of history, a lot of good stuff we just learned. So I'm going to put it all together for you. So until next time, y'all, you know what it is. Rise above, crack on.
Trevorton's heart, the fire burns bright. With a history deep, ready to fight. From 1900, heroes arise, volunteers united, under shared skies, bravery in action, through smoke and flame, the war wagon's glory, forever the same. Fire in their souls, heroes of the night, with the war wagon ready, bringing the light. In Trevorton's name, they answer the call, a legacy forged in love. They stand tall. 100 strong, with a passion so true. Saving our town.